Okay. I think I'm back up now. Should be.
You
Hopefully.
sound normal.
Normal? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, stream reconnected, so I don't know. We'll see. I don't know why there's so many spikes right now. It seems really strange. Okay. Trying to put my head to it, my technical side. I'm not really figuring it out. Could be one of those days.
Are we all here?
Yeah, not yet. No, not yet. So, just Indigo, Tardan, and then Sir Dougal, you're here. So, what's strange is that the head priestess or the high priestess, Valerie Revic, coming from the conversation you had with that individual, was that the actual cathedral itself is free. First come, first sit yourself down. The service was, and the guard aren't stopping you. They're not impeding your travel or anything. But there's just a lot of them, and they're also outside of the cathedral as well, forming little tight kind of groups and whatnot. But they're looking at you. They're just checking you out, just kind of looking at you, kind of staring as you come in. This seems to parallel a couple of you, specifically Indigo, with your passive insight. Is that this could be because of the missing person? That there might be something that they're doing, that they're looking, not particularly that you might be Randall Gurn, but maybe that you have certain nefarious things from your passive insight. So they're checking your weapons and the things that you're bringing in. Okay? So as you come in, you're immediately embraced by a just massive amount of people currently in here. So the cathedral is large. It's not insanely large. And there are multiple of these paladins dressed in similar colorations as though of the high squires. You've seen those in there. They're wearing the surcoat. Many of them have capes dedicated to Falor Lord, Thalon Falor there. And they take up a large amount of the pews. Just getting here early, potentially just sitting down. There's nobles inside of the other pews. There's common folk. There's different things. It's just full. It's jam-packed. And there are people, potentially the Thulnir dwarfs, that are outside hearing. Some of them are kind of now funneling in, maybe to stand and actually get kind of a sight and observance. The High Priestess Valria is currently on the knees upon the staircase just to the west side, or just below the stairs of the branch of the sun tree that extends upright, and it currently has the hands just outstretched, and everything's just quiet in here. No one's talking, no one's saying anything. It's just quiet. It's almost as if they're like waiting.
Hey, you guys see seats? Where are we gonna sit?
Dougal turns around and shushes you.
That's rude. This isn't a library.
It's a church, man.
We're not in service.
This is like the Clampets came to. Yeah, we're gonna
Yo, are you
head
gonna
over
talk to
here.
Valeria first?
No, she's busy.
But we can talk to the tree.
It's okay. What? Do you see anybody else speaking right now? Look around. Take two. Don't say anything. Look around. See anyone else speaking?
Talking? They're whispering and talking to themselves, but they're keeping a very low auditory level of decibel. They're not crazy being loud, and they're really kind of holding down in their conversation. They're being quiet, and they're really just letting things happen.
See, there's other people talking, and we'll point out the whispering. Jerks.
That's good. Good. Okay. What do you want to know? What's your question? You have a dire question. You have a burning question right now.
I was just gonna ask you where we were gonna sit. Why are you
There.
gonna be such a douche about it?
There, sit. I'm not a douche. Sit. Shh. Sit.
Minutes pass over noon hour. At this point, I'm going to just fast track. Obviously, time doesn't really add up quite well, but we're going to have it be. Harak and Darius, you both have made your way here. So Ares, if you're obviously first time really coming up, you know of a little bit of the Sun Tree, right? They've talked about this particular place. It's in the Holy District, which is upon a tile or plateau with an interior wall with a double wooden door that can be barred. No real towers or anything here. And the cathedral is at the center of it and provides this magical warmth and embrace of radiance about. No snow really can fall here, nor it sits, and it feels warm. I mean, you're feeling temperatures ranging of 60 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit in this particular area. There's large canopies that have been pitched. Many dwarves, particularly from Clan Alderfist, Lonelier Dwarfs. They are currently, seems to be refugees. You notice as you made your way into the Holy City, particularly that they talked about their city being attacked by a dragon. This is a conversation that they've had has been pouring in from the mountainside across the pass, heading to the west, so they come from the east. And they have made their way into the city, many clerics and clergy, as well as paladins and other folk. They're tending to the needs, making sure that they're well fed, kept up, and they keep them within the canopy shelters as well as the homes nearby the actual holy district. So you have been following Harak and Darius, which now you both have entered in. Similar in that, the cathedral itself ranges in great height, about 140 feet in its height. The branch of the sun tree extends up to the wooden rafters. There's a beautiful mosaic pattern towards the stained glass windows. Bricked stone is adequate and quite thick as far as the walling, and it's beautiful with white marble as well as darkened granite.
So, just out of curiosity, does it look like in this situation anyone would stop me from taking a closer look at the sun tree?
For your character, I would probably say you might know that it would be a little odd to interact with the sun tree currently, given that the service is about to start, or at least it should have started. It's been minutes after it should have started, and so it seems a little odd to do it now, but it's not something that everyone is going to like stand up and impede you from.
I'm gonna kind of whisper a question to Nereus. I found my stone in a tree. Do you think there could be some connection?
Unlikely, given the Sun Tree's connection to Palor, but only one way to find out.
That's about what I was thinking. Okay, I'm gonna...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
There. I just say I'm approaching this slowly, and if anyone says, like, whoa, back up, I will not, like, aggressively force myself forward or anything.
Okay.
From my perspective, does it look like they're trying to do something dangerous, like it was maybe a test in the marketplace? Or does it look like, just somebody approaching some type of religious item?
I need you to make a flat intelligence check.
Oh boy, God, this would be awesome.
Okay, sorry, I'm trying to find checks.
$17. I think that you would understand that they might be up to something, but you are intelligent enough to know that it would be quite stupid of them to do something here with how many paladins and how many people, as well as the head priestess that currently is there by the sun tree. And none of the paladins are acting on it. However, they don't know what has happened. Give you that information. Before we proceed any further, Ares, since you are kind of now in the cathedral and everyone can see you at least now the three that are sitting there, you can most likely observe that Ares has entered in. There's no real way to stealth into here, Ares.
I was looking for it.
Yeah, no real way to stealth into here because there's some certain sitting down. Obviously, Nereus and Harak, as you kind of make your way up here, you're able to kind of... Your conversation is really directed forward, most likely, but with your passives and knowing that there's no real to stealth in this particular endeavor, You might be able to have an idea that Ares is now there because you've seen this individual. And now, without further ado, Dustin, if you want to go ahead and describe your character, how they look,
Absolutely.
their pronouns, you can.
So it is a male, he, him, standing anywhere from about 5'10" to 6 foot, kind of average height. He has sky blue skin with light blue hair, but it's so light you almost get the impression in certain light it could be white. What's very unique about his hair is it almost seems to be constantly waving, like there's a constant flow of air coming to it, almost like the Fabio effect all the time. Very muscular in build. You would guess, anywhere from about 200 to 220 pounds, give or take. But he doesn't. He looks older than what you probably expect he is. He has a lot of wear and tear on his body. He has quite a few tattoos all over the place. Nothing specific. Looks like probably a good Friday night drink. Went to the tattoo artist and got a little something put on him. But what really catches your eye and what makes him probably look older than what he is, he has a lot of scars. He's a a sleeveless shirt on with a cloak covering it, but you can see up and down his arms and his hands, multiple scars, scars on his couple of scars on his face. Just looks like he's had a really either adventurous or rough life. As he walks toward the front of the altar.
Okay. So, Sir Dougal, Indigo, and Tarn, you see this individual striding up, and very interestingly, you all three had a conversation about the bag, and funny enough, out of character, still a meta, but Ares is a air genasi, so I thought that was pretty humorous that we just mentioned surviving.
You know what? I don't want to get tossed in the bag of holding, though. Okay.
Yeah, I think we just had a conversation, and here comes an air genasi. I am here.
Welcome to the group. Get in our bag.
Yeah. You want to be part of this gang?
You want to be part of Six Pack? You got to be in the bag.
You got to be in the bag. But you three can see that Ares is monitoring both Harak and Nereus very intently, this figure. And in not a threatening way, but willingness to take action. Especially you, Indigo, with your passive insight. Just as the guards were inspecting weapons, Ares seems to be inspecting the two. Now, at this stage, with you both approaching, some of the paladins are kind of looking and things, some of the commoners, whatnot, clerics are looking over, and some of the actual priests, the clergy, are now stretching and looking. Valeria is humming, seems to be celestial to herself as she's kneeling above the actual, below the tree and just humming and chanting, if you will, creating some hymns.
Stop.
We wave at them?
I will audibly, not yelling, but loud enough where everybody in front can hear me say, stop, right there. These two were just involved in an explosion down in the marketplace, and now they're heading toward the sun tree. I don't know what they're up to, but it's no good. I know it.
See as the paladins stand up, High Priestess stands up as well and looks towards the two, which you've yet to make an appearance here at the sun tree. Many of the guard are turning and looking in the direction. No one has directly taken action yet. As they stare and look, the head priestess sidesteps. Excuse me. Continues looking upon the head priestess. Looks back towards Ares.
If the word of a total stranger is enough for you to stop us, then maybe the words of this stranger are enough to convince you otherwise.
I do not
cancel each other out.
It is not how this works. Trusting total strangers. I trust everyone by their word. This one speaks, I see truth. How you speak, I see truth. But it is not the time nor the place for this. Tell me, looks down, as many of the paladins, speaks out loud. It will be but a moment. Thank you for your time and your efforts coming to Cathedral to observe our service for this afternoon on this beautiful day in the holy city of Othema. It will be but a moment as I resolve some conflict. Please, sit down. Relax yourselves. Do not fear.
I am so sorry for the interruption.
Come. Points towards the staircase. Explain yourselves, I would imagine. Why do you believe, looks towards you, as these individuals caused some sort of explosion?
Oh, well, they readily admitted that there's a gem they have that caused the explosion once contact was made with it. They said it was a faulty, what was the word? A faulty assessment, appraisal, that's it. A faulty appraisal. But I had this feeling because I didn't think they were being very honest with me. So I followed them. And the first thing they did when they got here was moved up for the sun tree. And I thought that was very suspicious.
Have you been drinking, sir? You seem a bit off.
I can smell it from here.
I know it's PvP, but like I feel like he can't not do this.
Gonna try to
Are they
gaze?
talking? Are they talking in a volume of which
Yeah.
could we hear from?
No,
could
you
we-
three
could we-
could hear the whole conversation right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
You three
It's
can hear the
echoing
whole
through the
conversation.
whole
It's echoing
place.
through the cathedral. Everyone's been quiet and silent. Aries literally straight up been
And
like,
frankly,
stop you there!
it's
like this last like just bit where they're kind of like it'll be a moment and then all this, so we can hear all that.
Oh, then Shrek comes into the church saying, I object.
So
it's
Aries,
so embarrassing.
so Aries, you are in a state of charm, incapacitated, as Nereus is beginning to sing and trance you into this gaze and this enchantment. Do you want me to put on the call? I can. I got it.
He doesn't seem quite right, priestess. What do you think?
There was... sorry. Do I need to do the wisdom saving throw then?
You, if you do not make a wisdom saving throw, if you don't go with the prompt, it will automatically roll in for you. So I have you at a 12 for your wisdom saving throw, which is a fail. So it will automatically do it if you don't respond to it, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. So yeah, you're in an incapacitated state, as well as this kind of a charmed-like state upon actual Nereus, and I believe you're seeing right with the gaze and certain things, and creating this little bit of a kind of an effect right towards this. Nereus, you're maintaining that. You turn over and look towards that priestess as you make that statement. Immediately, Tardan, you begin to run up.
What did you guys do?
Do you know these individuals?
Yeah, the orc and the merfolk are with us, and I'm gonna point back to Indigo and Sir Dougal as they hide in the back.
I'm leaving. This is way too embarrassing.
When I invited your friends to come to service, I did not expect this to happen.
Yeah, me either. We left them for like an hour and a half. I don't know what happened. I think there's some sort of miscommunication here. They're not bad people. They're rude, but they're not bad people.
Sorry, is it us who is causing the disturbance?
Yes, perhaps a stranger would like to explain. Speak up. What was that?
If she looks at me, I have drool coming out the side of my lip, and I'm just kind of staring at her, which is totally opposite of what I was prior to going into this. So I look like I'm catatonic almost.
Valerie speaks. I have seen magic used, and I know. I have lived a long life. I've Met many wizards, many mages. Looks back to you, Tartan. These are your friends. Please go and take a seat. We are about to begin.
Y'all come this way. Stop causing trouble. And I'm just gonna like turn around and walk back to Dougal and.
Can Nereus look at the sun tree and like try and determine like what kind of tree it is? Like whether it's a nature check or arcana, like try and discern just looking at it.
You can make a nature check if you'd like.
Yeah, he's just curious about it now that it's like right here. Since everybody cares so much about this tree for some reason. No.
10. It seems that it resembles with its bark and its structure itself and the way the branches are coming out that it would be a deciduous. There would be potential leaves and things and falling and whatnot, but not really coming to you if it is or not, and as well as the species of the tree. So Nereus, you're walking away. Obviously, you're leaving Ares there, breaking that, moving outside of that bound. So Ares, you now have kind of come to, right? As soon as Nereus' gaze is sort of dissipated, the song leaves your mind a little bit, and you kind of come to. Harak, you're still kind of there. Nereus, you're still there as well, but it seems that Nereus has moved off.
Ares will go to a knee and say, I apologize for interrupting. I just didn't want anything else bad to happen. I don't know what happened to me a second ago. I'm so sorry.
Puts the hand to your shoulder. Why don't you go take a seat and enjoy service? Everything seems to be all right. And, well, looks back at all the paladins and things. Back at the Sentry. You have faith in your heart. Why don't you celebrate it?
Thank you.
Well, your friends have left. You stand. The reason you have not joined them?
I only wanted to ask permission to lay hand on the sun tree.
By all means. We who follow and worship Pelor have the utmost patience.
It won't be more than a minute. Alright. Is there anything as a ranger, quote unquote, that I would discern about a tree, even though I don't really have anything that would give me knowledge of plants?
I mean, nothing that really comes to you, in particular this tree, given that this is a very unique tree. It does not seem like something you've seen before, with its white, kind of dark, its white bark with cracks and certain things inside of its structure. It resembles a normal tree, but with white bark, right? And it's leafless. There's no needles as well. It grows and sprawls and things. It seems quite normal, right, for what it is, and obviously its position and its growth here and the way that it's very elaborate. The only thing you could possibly do would be to do similar to Nereus, which would be a nature check, where you can see if Arcana, right, if there's a magical thing about the tree.
Sure, I'll do an Arcana.
Okay. So 17, seems to be, from what you can guess, is that this is the source, this tree is the source of the effect that it has created in the Holy District. Why there is the warmth and the radiance coming from it. You suspect that this tree is sustained with daylight, with a daylight spell particularly, and how you don't see around you, but maybe below, as you saw a staircase descending, and this is just one segment of. The tree itself has to be magical in a way, right? In order for it to be successful in its growth, in the way that it is in its current state. There has to be something that is empowering it, or something that makes it in the way that it is.
Okay, I think I'm going to touch it in a way that kind of like put my stone in my palm and put my whole hand against it, so my skin and the stone are touching it, and kind of say to it, like, so you talk, huh?
Looks to you, Sir Dougal. Oh, that's good. That was very weird. So you touch the tree itself, begins to trace around with this white light braces. A voice comes to you. Oh, hello!
Hello.
What's going on?
Did you see what just happened right there on the stairs?
I don't see anything. I don't have eyes.
Did you hear it then?
I don't have ears.
Do you know of it then?
I could felt there was something awkward happening, but that was about it.
Yeah, well, I think everyone here could feel that.
Oh, that may be why I felt it. I'm connected with a great number of people.
Okay. So do you know anything about this stone, or am I wasting my time?
What stone?
I guess you can't feel either.
No, I can feel. Deep down. Through all my roots. And my branches.
Okay. Well, I promised the priestess I would be short, but I might come back.
Alright then.
My name is Rock, by the way.
Hi, Rock. People used to call me Suntree, but someone called me Matt recently. That was cool.
Do I get the instinctive feeling that this stupid name was given to... the tree was called that by someone in my party.
I think that you do know that your party had spoken to it, and given that you might be able to ascertain that potentially that name.
You have no idea where that
But
came from.
It could be anybody.
You don't know. It could have been anybody.
It could be anybody. Could be anybody. But
it was probably Tardan.
I think that with going off your passives, you can create speculation that it would be most likely anybody that recently spoke to it.
Yeah, it could have been the other guys that recently spoke to it.
Yeah.
But I will leave my stone in like a crook in the tree if one is available before I go and take a seat.
Okay. So you leave him in the tree and you go and take your seat. You see as Valria bows the head, doesn't say anything, and moves over to the altar, grabs a large book, tome, if you will, covered in the holy crest, the symbol of Pelor, white lining of paint and other sorts of golden accents to it, flips it over, and begins with an opening prayer. Upon that, before even getting to that, Harak, something that you immediately notice is that the stone is in your possession. It's no longer in the tree. You feel it in your palm. As you look, it's there, inside of your hand. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for your patience, as it is a virtue of our holy deity Pelor. Shine forth thy light, drive back the darkness, bring life where there was death, bring growth where all was barren, bring peace where there was strife, bring warmth where clawed the fingers of ice, bring mercy where there was none. Bring knowledge where there was ignorance. Bring comfort where there was fear. Let the sun rise. Let the shadows flee, both in the world and in the minds of people. Turns the page. We are gathered in this afternoon with news of a troubling event. As our friends, our Clan Aldefist dwarves, and their great and fortified mountainous city known as Tholnir were attacked. Now I'm sure that all of you are quite worried of an attack here in the Holy City. Ever since, a number of years ago, a white dragon had begun to attack the valley any patrols, as well as a number of individuals that simply were making their way for their good business. The Trades district has always been something of question. Many of the folk coming here, making pilgrimage, those camping, and spending a great number of days. Lord Dalenflor has spoken to me. I have seen upon the council that we believe that this dragon is not a white dragon. Conversations of those Clan Aldefist dwarves that managed to flee and get a sighting of it, that we believe that it is silver. It is a silver dragon. That might pull upon your heartstrings in this troubling time. Such a magnificent beast such as this could be pulled to do great evil. The war continuing in the far south. But we here in the holy city of Othema, with Pelor's light embraced upon us, will drive back all these fears. And we will maintain, and we will fortify our hearts with that light. We will be invincible. Any destruction that evil comes. I have been brought news that there are individuals that have finally spoken the Sun Tree. As I'm sure you will bear witness to, that very one sits, and others in the audience currently. It is a momentous occasion that the tree once more speaks. With why it refuses to speak to some, only to these that have made their way in their travels here, is unknown to me. But we shall not bask in the uncertainty. We will relish in what we do know, that the tree once more speaks. And thy beacon of Pelor's divine might sits perfectly safe and sound. Oh, our deity works in mysterious ways. We shall not question them. We shall give ourselves undyingly to it. As the service itself continues, more hymns, some of the clergy stand up, they begin to sing, vocalize. Many of the paladins and clerics actually stand up and do the same. It becomes into a very similar to a church service in a way. It's very routine at that point. Maybe this was kind of a period of going through some announcements and things. Those are what is really kind of pertinent to you all kind of sitting inside of the audience. But it's beautiful in the singing, the harmony that's there. A lot of the individuals or whatnot. The tree does not respond in any which way. Just continues to be there. Does not light up. Just exists. After an hour or so passes by going through the service. Peace. Yeah. Peace be with you and also with you. You come to a point where it has kind of subsided. Closing prayer is the same one that was which was start with similar what I've spoken with. And as it is kind of completed, you notice many of the paladins, they stand up. They're the first to leave. Some of the clerics kind of moseying, having conversations. Some of the clergy, they go downstairs. They're going down the staircases. And many of the common folk, as well as the nobles that are currently in here, they begin to talk and shake hands and speak. And much of the chatter that you overhear sitting in the pews is the Sun Tree speaking again. That it's something to cherish and celebrate. They're not really coming up to you or noting that, seeing Harak did what they did at the tree. Maintaining peace, prosperity, and also whatever the tree told you, that was something for you to hear and not necessarily for something you to share, right? And then eventually you see as they begin to walk out, I'm just going to start deleting tokens. Begin to funnel out. One by one by one.
As people are funneling out, at any point, can I catch eyes possibly with the individual that was up there with Nereus and Harak? If ever looks maybe to the right, I'd like to kind of lock eyes with him for a minute, if I can catch his gaze.
So you're trying to lock eyes with Ares?
Just not like, hey you, but if sometimes you're just looking to the left and right. If he looks my way, I'd like to like catch his attention for a moment. If he does that,
Ares, where are you glancing back up at the individuals?
So he's gonna have a chance because I'm going to move this way to the two that I followed, and approach them and say, "I like to be the first to admit when I'm wrong. And I'm sorry that I thought you had ill intentions coming in here. But I've seen too much unnecessary death in my time. And the way you guys were acting really made me concerned. But I would like to be the first to apologize to you."
I think that Rock will accept this and offer him a handshake.
Return the handshake. And I'll look at who I don't know his name is Nereus, but I'll look at him and I'll say, It was a good trick you pulled up there. Or at least I assume it was you, since when you left, I felt fine. And we haven't been probably introduced yet. My name is Ares.
I do not perform tricks. I'm sure that Tardan will tell you everything about us, so there's no point in me even telling you my name.
Well, he's a slimy guy, isn't he?
Well, my name is Rock, and I come from the White Breakers of Eastmar.
Hello, Rock. It's nice to meet you. I'm sorry I was under these circumstances. I truly am.
Well, we live in interesting times. Can I ask where you're from?
Yes, I'm from Tamaria. Very small place. Or compared to other places, very small.
And may I ask what draws you here?
Let's just say that right now I'm trying to forget, and it seems that my skill set is best put to use adventuring right now. And I need to stay busy. So I was actually looking for something to do as I just finished my last task.
Well, if you're looking for something to do, I might have something to occupy your time.
Look, I am not hitting your stone. All right, I'm not appraising your stone. Okay.
No, of course not. You don't look like a jeweler.
I most certainly am not. I was actually hoping on this next one I could potentially get with a party of some sort, maybe to make a little more gold, or maybe a little more risky adventure.
Well, if you're up for it, the 5 of us are among their other individual concerns. I am seeking to slay a certain wizard in order to defeat a false chief of my people, reclaim the chiefdom, standard stuff, I'm sure, for adventurers.
And you say this is what this whole party is trying to do? You're the leader?
No, that is my individual mission. The others have their own. And we'll get to them all in due time, but that's mine.
Interesting. Sounds risky.
Yes. You're welcome to help me if the mood strikes you. But I wouldn't speak on behalf of the other 4.
I mean, look, it sounds like it could be a dangerous mission, but I mean, I'm all for getting a what was the word you used? A fake leader out of his false chief. I'm all for getting him out of his position if he's not real. How about everybody else in the party? Have you guys kind of stepped forward, or no? You guys are just hanging around in the back there.
I wonder if I can't, while I didn't want to interject, but while you two were exchanging, I wonder if I couldn't do a short circle around the back of this new character. What kind of? I know you said he's, except for some small parts showing, but heavily cloaked.
Yeah,
do I
it's
see
a typical cloak.
Do I see any weaponry showing?
Oh yeah, you would see that he has a longbow.
A longbow. Okay. Okay.
I would say though, as I'm talking and I see you moving from the back pew where you were, moving around in a circle, that you know that I am kind of clocking you as well. I'm kind of following you around. Don't like people to be behind me. Kind of aware of the surroundings at all time.
You see what do you see? You see I mean, I'm going to say 6 foot, but add or subtract your inches as you wish. Rabbit. No armor. Mostly, except for some cold weather clothing, because it's effing cold. Wearing a tabard, right, with a sigil on it of just a leaf, right? It's like a green and gold patterned, just a leaf. And he wears a necklace with a black stone in it, pressed into a bear claw, and he carries a rapier, and a shield. He has a scampering little squirrel about his body all the time. And he is definitely, weighing you. Right? He's sizing you. What did you say before that they did? Well, if I could ask that, I don't want to dig up old wounds, but what?
Yeah, I don't know if you just heard. I kind of apologized to them, but I was walking through the marketplace, just kind of looking around, doing a little shopping of my own, and all of a sudden there was best way to describe it is an explosion, a huge, what sounded like a huge explosion. So I ran over toward the direction, started trying to help out, and the only ones that weren't being helped were who I know now as Harak, and I don't know the other one's name because some guy named Harden is supposed to tell me everything about the party. So I don't know anything other than Harak. I don't even know your name. But what happened was, I guess there is a gem that they were having appraised, and as soon as the guy hit it or tapped it with a hammer, there was an explosion. And they were acting really suspicious, and I didn't want anybody else to get hurt. So I followed them, and they came here, and I think you saw the rest of it from here.
That actually sounds super plausible for those two. Are you? Now I'm going to lean just a little to the side. I'm not dismissing you. I'm just processing the story. Did you two hawk your stones? Really? Did you? You two were thinking about hawking the stones?
Sir Dougal, it is revealing how low your opinion of us is. We had the stones appraised, or we sought to, but we didn't gain any information.
Blew up a magic shop.
So let's imagine for a second that it didn't explode. Right. Okay. Right. Yes. I see the deniability already. What was your plan if they didn't explode?
Yes, Sir Dougal, it's my fault that the stone exploded.
I'm just trying to understand what the appraisal was for.
Well, it's to learn about the stones.
I see. Right. I see.
Nothing to do with a saddle that you wanted, right?
That's interesting. So, what you mentioned that you were, I'm so sorry that we had to meet like this. Let me put this right. My name is Dougal. You may call me Sir Dougal. In the back there is Indigo. Indigo? And I believe you are already acquainted with Harak and Nereus. I point at the merfolk. This one here is Tarden. I point behind you if you're looking at me. And we are 5.
At this
Some
point,
call a six-pack.
if you want to pause and you all want to go through, obviously Harrison went through the description of your character, but if any of you would like to go through that, pronouns as well as description of your character, you can.
So Tarden is a elf. Very obvious, has the pointy ears, doesn't hide it or anything. His clothes are very plain. You notice very easily that he doesn't try to. There's no design. There's no embroidery. It's just it is what it is. You notice he has a longbow on his back, as well as a flute that he has kind of tucked up his sleeve a little bit, but it doesn't fit quite right because it's a new flute. Haven't played with it yet, so it's pretty easy to notice. And that's pretty much Tarden.
Who's next?
think it's
Not
either
all at
Indigo
once.
or Nereus.
Fighting them off with a stick.
Come on. Let's do it. Indigo, go.
As you look in the back pier, you see what looks to be a human male around 30 years old, give or take, and he's in a black robe with dark purple trim around the edges, sleeves rolled up to about his forearm, exposing the white from the underrobe, and you see a satchel that he carries over his left shoulder down to his right side with all manner of a few items. Everything has a place. Everything has a pocket that is stowed away to include some type of a kit and a pouch and what looks to be some type of a book with a writing utensil bound to it. And he doesn't appear to have any weaponry on him whatsoever. He looks to be smaller in stature, but very muscular and very athletic, but very calm at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, so Nereus, last but certainly not least, he's rather tall, just over 6 feet. He's a pretty slender build, of very fair skin. It's a long flowing mane of blue hair that culminates at the top with this massive fin that kind of extends up and out of the top of his head. Pointed ears, he wears a lot of jewelry. If you're looking at him now, you can see he's obviously uncomfortable with how much clothing he's having to wear. He would normally prefer to be shirtless, but such is the way when you're in the frozen tundra. And his normal expression, which you probably saw earlier, right? He mostly seemed pretty passive or kind of intrigued. There's a slight downturn to his lips as he's looking at you. It's clearly you've offended him in some way from your first impression, and he is not stoked about the fact that we're still talking to you. But welcome to Nereus.
So the stage of Valria has come up and begins to see right near that you're wounded, kind of reaches up to touch you.
What are you doing?
Giving you Pelor's divine light, of course.
Did you know, priestess, that in the past Pelor would persecute people like us?
Well, there was a time those who worshipped Pelor did a great many things. But here in this clergy, in this cathedral, we are worshippers not only of Pelor, but the Sun Tree. And our rites are to give healing and acceptance to all that come. Now, why don't each of you come and sit down, and let's clear the air.
Can I ask a quick question out of character?
Yeah.
Was it when Harok touched the thing in the lake and we were all like transported through space and time to fight those guys, were they Pelor worshippers? Did we know?
100% we know.
They have the same symbol
Okay.
as the priestesses, yes.
I forgot out of character.
Well, because I think they were like, "Oh, by Pelor's light, kill the infidels!" Like they were like, yeah, the
It was
heretics.
pretty
and
obvious.
Yeah, that's why Nereus did not understand why anybody would want to go here, because we haven't even talked about that entire encounter that happened in character.
Okay, because I was about to tell her that if it was them, but
Well, now that I hope that you all are seated, I would ask that the next time that you come into my cathedral, especially during service, to not quite create something so dramatic. Is anything that you all wish to do or say prior to entering in, I would appreciate that you do it outside of the cathedral. Now, I understand that there was a threat in your mind, potentially, and I greatly appreciate that you would take the Sun Tree into consideration, as it is a prized and precious artifact, and it must be protected. I'm curious as to these stones.
Tardan will hold up his necklace as he's not afraid to share it anymore.
I'll just hand her mine if she wants it.
Looks at it, gives it back to you. Do each of you have one of these that is of different color?
The five of us do, and I'm gonna kind of look at everyone.
It's quite interesting, and it seems that a number of you are able to speak with the tree. Is this true?
Yeah, Matt's like our new BFF, right, guys?
Matt. Yes.
That is true, yes.
Yes, I spoke to it when I touched it before service.
Well, I feel that there is something involved with you all and the tree, and perhaps some sort of similarity or commonality amongst yourselves. If there's any information that you can enlighten me, I would greatly appreciate that. No? Nothing?
Oh, well. All right, so you see what happened.
Sir Dougal's gonna. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Sir Dougal's gonna lean over the shoulder of Ares and say, "Do you carry any stones like this one?"
So I was kind of waiting for a pause here. So as you lean over, you see me, kind of clutching something. Looks like it's probably on a chain around my neck, hanging down. For the DM, after seeing a couple of these stones now, would I recognize that the one that I have is similar to theirs?
Yes.
So, as Sir Dougal asked that question, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Except the one that Tardan had shown Valeria. That one is different.
Okay. So as you see me holding this, I'll turn to Sir McDougal and I'll say, I do, but it was given to me by someone else, and I made a promise to him what I would do with it for him.
Was this recently?
More recent than I care to remember.
Okay.
Yes. This is not something I like to talk about.
It's a little cryptic, but yeah.
Wait, is he the six pack?
And
That's
I'm
it, baby.
assuming from the conversation, looks towards you, Ares, that you do not know these people.
I will, at this time, pull out my necklace and stone so everybody can see it and say, I do not know these people before today. I was just looking for an adventure so I can forget and stay busy. And it seems, without even knowing it, I might have found one.
See.
And I'll put the stone back away. Or the gem, I guess. Sorry, the gem back away.
Did I see what color it was before he put it away?
Most likely, yes. If you pulled it out, it's green.
Green.
I will be consulting some books, spending some time on research with what has happened. If there's any information that you uncover, I'd, again, appreciate you bringing it to me. If I find something in the connection, where are you all staying? I believe the Zealous Flagon was what some of your friends had mentioned.
It was. Sure. We can stay there again, I suppose.
It
If
is
we're
up to
if
you.
we're staying again.
If you're here and you're staying, I will try to reach with you with what I find. In the meantime, I will send a messenger, courier, to Lord Thalon Falor on your behalf. I greatly appreciate the ones that have spoken with the Sun Tree. I will state that an audience may be requested, potentially for you to go. I know that we had spoken perhaps of getting an audience with Lord Thalon. There is public court. You may go and speak to Lord Thalon Falor now if you so choose to. Public court is in session. But if it is not your wish, and after I do this task of giving the Lord Thalon Falor good news, he may request an audience for you all to join. Not something that is forced, no, but to be greatly encouraged. Lord Thalon Falor prides himself on being a very holy warrior, and the Sun Tree being silent has plagued his mind and his worship of Pelor. He will be most ecstatic that you speak with the tree.
Do
So-
you have any
Hmm.
insight or information further than what you disclosed in regard to the disappearances?
Hmm.
The disappearances have happened to a great number of common folk, mainly travelers or adventurers, such as yourselves. They have merely disappeared, and without much of a foothold within the city, it makes for investigation, which is led by Commander Rengla Uku, quite tedious. We have just learned that another has disappeared, a lesser noble by the name of Randall Gurn. This individual hails from Beelder and comes to serve on court for Lord Thalon Falor as an administrator. He recently procured a small manor bridging between noble and, well, merchant district. I believe Commander Rengla Uku has investigated this particular banner for some time and has yet to come to any conclusions and has taken to the streets. This has caused a large tension, though. So many common folk disappearing, and now a noble, there are many fingers that are pointing at each other. There is already quite a separation between the common folk and nobles within the city, given that the Drift and the nobles hold many estates. They procure and purchase the land of the Drift and make more estates and things. You see, it creates separation. And the cathedral serves the Holy District anyways. We serve in our clergy to try to bridge that gap. And unfortunately, the missing and disappearances, the missing people, they have resulted in that gap increasing. And our efforts have been in vain.
We we ran into, or your investigator has actually ran into us at the inn.
Yeah,
It was
wasn't exactly friendly.
It was he came across as a very frustrated and irritated person in the moment, also stating that we offered help, and the reply was, the biggest help we can give him is to stay out of his way.
Commander Wrangler Uku is a well-seasoned veteran and has seen a great number of years in action. In fact, Commander Wrangler Uku has actually fought in the war front to the south and sustained crucial injuries. That's why he currently serves his post up here. If you are to perhaps ease the tongue of this one, an invitation for free mead goes a long way. Perhaps at
Oh, really?
this local watering holes, the Mountainside Tavern.
Which?
The Mountainside Tavern is somewhere that Wrangler Uku is commonly found, drinking mead. You are wanting to perhaps get more information from this individual, or maybe even figure out a way to help. This could be an opportunity. Beyond that, I would most certainly seek an audience with Lord Downfalor. He presides over the commander, and you are wanting to help. It could be the easiest way.
Well, thank you so much for letting us take part in today's services. I apologize. I can't apologize enough for how we behaved. I hope that we will. I hope we meet again. And I hope it's under better. I'm sorry?
Are you referring to the incident before the service today?
I am not
Or
referring
in
to
general?
the. I am not referring to the explosion. If that's what you mean, no.
No, not that. The awkwardness before the service.
The other disturbance. Um.
Well, if you are referring to that, then I would suggest you let us apologize for ourselves.
He can apologize for me, though I did nothing wrong.
That's why I was afraid you were gonna say.
But, Priestess, I do have a question before Sir Dougal is busy apologizing for who knows what. You said you know many wizards. You've seen many in your time. Do you know the wizard Air Pip?
That is a name I do not know. My experience with wizards primarily pertains to that of Felgim, as well as Glinlaw, a wizarding school in Belandar. Felgim was on Isle of the Blessed. Those are my experiences. I've also dealt with a number of magistrates at court, particularly this one.
If you want the tree to grow, you should water it properly. It looks dehydrated.
I do hope the light of Palor reaches you, my troubled child.
Priestess, I know we all have questions, but I have one too.
Ask away.
During the service, you made a reference to the silver dragon. What was it? Being under control of some sort?
It is known to many in Arthuria that silver dragons are not necessarily evil to action. They are beasts that would rather live amongst us and relish in the common fruit of humanity, so to speak.
Then would you suspect that it is not acting on its own free will, or it is being influenced in some way by an outside force?
It would stand to reason that is likely. There has to be something that is causing a dragon that is silver to act in such a way, of aggression and brutality.
Do you have any opinion on white dragons? If it were a white dragon acting in a similar way, what would you say the same thing about it, or would you suspect that it was doing it, or I should say, would such behavior be typical of a white dragon, in your opinion?
Well, to really figure out the point to where you're going, you must first, since you have never really been, none of you, to Tholnir before, there is no feasible way for an adult-sized dragon, or even a young one, to get in to the city. Silver dragons, as I stated, have ways of living amongst us. Abilities that allow them to change their shape and enjoy and relish in what humanoid species have to offer. So to conclude, white dragon behavior, known and prone to violence, yes, and they do perform evil acts. But dragons are solitary creatures, and they very seldom intermingle in humanity. And it is the reason that is caused great strife at the recent time, in the last 8 years, that dragons have taken more charge on humanity. That is what causes great problems. In history, white dragons are known to be far violent and create great problems.
In my quest for salvation in Palor's Light Priestess, what do his teachings say about, hypothetically, you were to encounter such a terrible tyrant of a white dragon, like the one that's been causing such strife and death? Would you be tasked to kill it or to let it go free to rampage somewhere else? What would he say?
Words of Palor to each one individual is private to what they would request. If you would have taken an oath, such as a paladin, potentially of conquest or vengeance, I can see Palor's light hitting you into slaying this beast. Perhaps, though, that you are someone that wishes to save it from its own self, seeking to cause a cascade of salvation. History would say that that would be foolhardy.
It was, yes.
But it may be that this white dragon was, in a way, acting in self-defense, or if not self-defense, then a natural protection of its young.
I'm quite wise. I'm very old. I know when we're talking hypotheticals, but is this something that has happened to all of you?
Well, now we have to kill her.
Nah. So, here's the story. We may have been told by some giants that we were the chosen ones to get rid of the spawn of some random dragon. Anyway, long story short, the white dragon that has been terrorizing you guys was on our list of supposed chosen duties. However, it didn't seem, to me anyway, that this dragon was of its own volition. So instead of trying to kill it, I tried to set it free from that which I believed to control its mind and its actions.
What was controlling its mind and its actions?
Demodar.
What else controls minds but evil wizards?
At this point, I'm staring directly at Nereus.
That's too good.
How fitting.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good one.
Nereus was Air Pip the whole time.
Oh my god.
I do not judge others' actions. I believe each one of us has our own motivations and our own guidance to do what we believe we need to do. If you saw that this was something you needed to do, then it is done. My advice to each of you is to truly seek an audience with Lord Thaon Valor and provide this news. Tell the story. Not only would you provide an update to the people here in Othema, but also speak truth of your heroics.
So, priestess, you do not enforce the law or betray the confidence of those that come to you?
I do not know.
Oh, well, it might be worth knowing that the Duke of Harrock is dead because of us. So maybe we don't want to talk to the Lord.
Why is the Duke dead? What happened?
Tardan, would you like to explain this one?
So, we were on the Striker. Striker gets destroyed by
Oh my
a
god.
dragon and a kraken, right?
Going all the way back.
Nobody saw you reaching that far.
We anyway, we end up in Harrock, right? After being shipwrecked. It was very, very apparent that some corruption was going on. Miners were being taken and turned into guards instead of in the mine to produce the iron that was needed. You know, the Duke didn't really come out of his manor. He was kind of a solitary weirdo.
As Talthars
And-
are.
Anyway, we made a deal with some dwarves, and we didn't necessarily kill him. We just kind of gave him to them. I don't know what their business was, but yeah, that's a thing that happened.
We collaborated as best we could with the information we had. We made a decision and we moved on.
The Prince Stonefist requested an audience with the Duke. We brought the Duke to Prince Stonefist, and what happened beyond that is none of our business.
So you guys brought him to a mob or to justice?
That's a very good question.
Yes, is the answer to your question. It wasn't a mob. It was another person of royalty, just of an opposing faction, that
But the
opposing
Duke
faction.
was doing bad things.
Maybe.
Who was doing bad things?
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Right. Okay. I thought I had heard you make a. I thought I had heard you make a declarative statement, not ask a question. But I'm with you.
Well,
As long as you're asking questions, I'm with you. I take
it
two
was
steps closer to Ares.
Yeah, and you noticed I moved away from Nereus when he moved closer to me too. By the way, so
Good.
it was more of a. So the Duke was doing bad things? Question mark.
That's interesting.
Not necessarily question mark,
How-
because there were individuals that were trying to ambush our caravan on the way here, and they were wearing certain markings, and upon a little bit of magic from my friend up there, and I point to Tardan, they acknowledged the Duke as their leader.
And
Right.
the Duke's hand also matched the handprint on the cowl. So there
I
was
have
enough
spoken
Go ahead.
with Umbrian Arillo. Umbrian Arillo had stayed within the keep for a number of weeks, if not months. Had also, I believe, grabbed one of the servers at the Zillus Flagon. At least tell Ma was her name. I do not judge, nor do I scrutinize. Clearly, you have your evidence that you believe it to be. And you brought this individual to justice as you sought that was justice. Like, my advice still stands that the Lord Down for Law would appreciate the information provided. I may accompany you if you'd like, if you're worried of scrutiny and judgment, but it is best to speak the truth rather than hide it, regardless of the outcome.
Here.
I'm a big fan of the truth. Maybe we'll get some more information from the Lord. This is starting to sound like a good idea. A really bad good idea.
Again, if it is not something that you all wish, if you don't wish to speak to the Lord, then that will be fine. But do know I will still extend the courier, letting her know that there are individuals that spoke with the Sun Tree. That is something that I must do. It is very important that we figure out why you have spoken and are able to speak to the tree. I am curious. This name, Chosen Ones. I heard this referenced in your tale. It was these frost giants that told you that you were chosen ones.
They spoke of a prophecy, a legend.
There were also the fish creatures.
There was also Magello, who was a wizard that stopped Damodar from killing us, actually, I think.
Jello. Quite interesting.
Does that name ring a bell?
It does. Jello is the head magistrate of the People's Palace. Serves on court to King Reldor Telthar. I will have
don't
some
fully
information
understand.
for you, Indros. I will have some information for you in the morning. I'll be taking my leave now, as I must study. I will find you at the Zealous Flagon in the morning. Correct?
We'll be there.
It'll be done. And if you do decide to see the Lord Down for Law at public court, then I would suggest that you do it now, if you plan to. If not, perhaps when I arrive in the morning, we will go together. You can sit here and stay as long as you wish. Again, the cathedral is open to all. You may stay and enjoy all of Pelor's light, that harmonious symphony of divine Goodbye. Walks away. Goes downstairs.
All right.
I look around at the group and you guys have done a lot.
Hmm.
We've only been together like a week and a half. I think I did that math right?
Like there's
When
a
you-
dragon.
Yes.
when you
Duke.
think about the story that we told, Ares, with Duke, I think it's probably important to remember that the dwarves were an indigenous tribe to the nearby mountain range, which was being strip mined for its resources. The Duke was the head of, at best, a commercial raping of the natural land, and at worst, albeit allegedly, the head of a criminal enterprise? Is that
I think
fair
a
to
cult
allege?
would be more
Cult,
appropriate since they were warlocks, but
right? A dark magic cult, and even then, even with that amount of allegation, supported by evidence or not, I think we still struggled with what the correct path for what the appropriate brand of justice was in a situation like that.
However, I do think that we should walk and talk.
Are
Didn't
you inviting me along with you?
I mean you have a stone? You may as well.
I think you should come with us. For no other reason than, you have. It seems like you have a stone, and we have found that having a stone like this has as frequently branded you a target as label you some savior or chosen one or whatever. You're just as likely rather to be attacked because you have it. So I probably wouldn't suggest trying it alone.
We should actually probably test his stone to see that it's real.
Tartan,
Hey,
hit it if you'd like.
No. I already heard this story. Ares, throw your stone at the tree.
Are you kidding me right now? After what I did before the service started, you want me to throw something at a sacred religious entity like the tree?
Let me see if I
Stone
can.
is really one of the chosen stones.
Just give it to me
It
so we
will
can
come
leave.
back to you.
And why would I give it to you, Nereus? I made a promise to somebody about what I would do with this. I'm not ready to do it yet, but I'm not going to throw it at a tree or give it to somebody.
You are rapidly approaching Tartan levels of annoyance.
And he will pull out his stone and shove it into your hands. Watch. And he will walk away.
Is that guy always an asshole like that?
Yes.
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 He gets results.
As you begin to walk away, the stone in your hand, that's in Ares, is the one you placed it. Stone in your hand vanishes. No longer in your hand any longer. It's red gemstone.
It's just gone?
Slightly egg-shaped, opaque, similar in shape and design as yours, just different color. It's gone. No longer in your hand. Nereus, clutched in the palm of your hand, is your stone.
Have you... Maybe the reason I've asked how recently it happened was because I was interested to find out how accustomed you were to having it. Have you had it for a long time? Have you spent much time with it? Have you experimented with it at all?
No, and let's just leave it at, since I've had it, it's been around my neck the entire time. Like I said, I made a promise to somebody that I would give this to someone. And I have not got to that point yet where I'm ready to go see this person and give it to him. So I have not done anything with this at all.
You mean you haven't gotten to that point yet? When you say I haven't gotten to that point yet, you mean you're not ready to go there, or you're saying geographically you haven't gotten to that point?
You'll see the facial expression kind of dampen almost to sorrow, and I'll just say it's a little of both right now. I would prefer to leave it there, since we've just met, one, and two, I'm just not ready to talk about this.
Right. Okay. You don't have to, yeah. You can take as long as you want. However, speaking of taking as long as we want, while we're together, before we all go our separate ways, almost assuredly, in a moment, can we huddle up for a second really quick, guys? We were talking before about where our next footfall is. Are we planning on staying here another night in town?
I think it'd be nice to hear the intentions of each person and see what they want to do.
I'm down for staying because I am curious about what she finds.
I think we should take her advice at least, and meet with or speak with the Lord. I realize that being a Talthar doesn't hold him in high esteem, at least in your eyes, Proc. But he is the Lord here, and whether or not you trust him or have any interest in what he has to offer, hearing what he has to say could be just as valuable as taking what he has, receiving whatever aid he might offer.
We also don't have much in the way of travel time, as I'm going to kind of look at Sir Dougal and Indigo. A few of us discussed earlier, we still need guides, transportation. If everyone wants to pitch in, we can get the group a bag of holding. That is an offer, assuming I can find the gnome again.
If we were to leave, I'm not necessarily suggesting when we leave, but if we were to leave and not pursue any local interests here, is it safe to assume that we're still headed south, right? At least to Fort Farron. We were recommended. We were referred to. I'm going to butcher this one. Yadir in Fort Farron at a tavern called the Lump and Stump. If anybody remembers that one, note taking. Anybody note taking? We were suggested to the Lump and Stump in Fort Farron just to ask for Yadir and we were sent by a reference from Barlow, I think, which is everyone's favorite barkeep, and it would be meaningful to me to go there, as there are patrols that I think either originate there or travel there to and from the marshes. But again, I'm also happy to defer if there are local interests here.
Instead of getting wrapped up in whatever is happening here, why don't we help Harok and his people? We can always come back and get thrown in jail to the Lord any time.
Well, if I can speak up on that note, I would say that there are good reasons for us to leave. Well, first of all, the Sun Tree business doesn't seem to be urgent. I haven't heard anything about why we need to look into that. And we have 3 issues that are time sensitive: the dragon, the redwood, and of course our favorite, killing the wizard and disposing the false chief. Of course, everyone knows that. Though I don't really, given that. Plus, I don't want to talk to any Talthars because they tried to take Uluda, and if they want to take Uluda, they're not going to stop there. They'll try to take everything, including Ismar, and I am not going to help them gain any foothold.
I think if you're suggesting, though, that we head towards Uluda, or that it is one of our paths forward, recalling the map that we have in someone's pockets, I think Fort Farron would still be a stop, the next stop on what could probably be the easiest crossing through the mountain, the ridge of mountains there, which leads us to another question, which we were debating pre-service, which was maybe we, again, depending on our path forward, but maybe we spend some money here to hire a guide.
We should decide on a destination before we think about how we're going to get there.
Okay.
I vote for us to get the supplies we need to leave this town immediately and go and save Harok's people from the chieftain. First thing in the morning, we can get the horses and buggies now before nightfall, any material we need, the bag of holding, and before dawn we set off. And that's where we go. We don't stop for anything else. And I quietly go back to my book.
Not stopping for anything else would be a dream come true, Indigo.
Then you agree with me, for once.
You are amazing.
We usually are at an impasse.
You can stop
Indigo.
talking at any point. Thank you. All right.
Oh my god.
Close.
Yeah.
Ares is going to whisper to Tarden, "What am I getting myself into?"
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. The issue with said plan is that, unless I'm mistaken, between here and there is a silver dragon, and in our quote-unquote chosen ones, it's likely that that dragon is the dragon. I don't think we make it from here to there without being stopped.
Well, that was at least my point, that we have two separate time-sensitive issues toward the east, the dragon and the false chief. So staying here for a non-time sensitive issue, as far as I can tell, is not a good use of time. And that I would vote for moving toward the Silver Dragon, ultimately toward either Ismar or helping Sir Dougal.
If we were to head towards Ismar, are we considering abandoning the road? Does Fort Farron not represent the next logical destination?
It does. I think he's thinking past that, trying to get us all onto the same page of our route we want to take across this continent.
Yeah, looks like we have to go south to Fort Farron before we really do anything else outside of Athena.
Right. I guess that was what I was suggesting, right? I was just trying to take a smaller bite, which is
Fort Farron.
Fort Farron, right?
Yeah,
whether we turn west or east,
yeah.
I think we can agree south, if for no other reason than to escape this godforsaken cold.
So, OOC question. Based on the information on where this dwarf civilization is that between us and Fort Farron, or is it past Fort Farron?
Oh, there's a numerous amount of dwarven clans who are referring to Tholnir clan Alderfist. They are slightly northeast of your position, inside of the actual Frosthorn Mountains. So if you're attempting to get into Ismar, there's only one pass from the Gorn Valley that gets there, and that is the Gorn Pass, and that is essentially the road that leads out of Fort Farron. That's marked. The actual Gorn Pass itself is not necessarily similar in a sense to the Frosthorn Pass, but there is specific areas in it that get quite tight, like low width, and that's simply because you have a transition from the Frosthorn to the Lavastir Mountains. So you have now a separation of difference of what the mountain range is, and essentially two mountain ranges are coming together. So at certain parts, the actual mountains form these these very steep rock faces that kind of come upright. The only person who would have knowledge really about a particular place is you, Harak, you know that there is actually a fort known as Fort Flatminer that sits at one of the tightest choke points. It's actually a fort that not only occupies the pass and through the road, but also is embedded underneath the mountainside a little bit. It's actually anchored with some of their chambers and rooms. Fort Flatminer is occupied by soldiers that come from Fort Farron. So the Fort Farron is in charge of that particular location. So, Harak, you know that. Obviously, the doors themselves, so the gates that they have at the fort there, Fort Flatminer, inside the pass are open, accessible, right, to people to come through. Based on, though, what you have information of is, you know, that's got to be the status quo. It's going to be the same. I think out of character, one of the things that I kind of touched on was kind of gathering information based on where you're potentially headed would be good, right? To get the information as it comes, to really kind of see what lies ahead, right? Because things have changed. And so for Harak out of character, right? For you, you're saying, you know, time sensitive. But in your story, the timing that you've been gone doing the investigation research has been left somewhat a little bit open-ended in the way that works, and that things could have changed, right? So it's not just going to be the exact same as when you've left it, and that's pretty clear about what the story you've been through, in the same way that's happening here, right, where you're at. There's a lot of things that are changing. You're coming up to the tree and you're talking to it. So these characters are wanting to figure out why that's happening. They're going to continue to try to do that, be it you engage with it or you don't. So wherever you're headed next, like I said, gathering the information about where you're potentially headed will best serve you for whatever you're going to do, as well as how you're going to get there. Right now, right, you have Elria that seems to have turned a little bit of the conversation to getting the information, the hints not only of Magello, but also of Chosen Ones, and is now actually going to meet you in the morning with information, if you're still there at the Zealous Flagon, to give you some information. Didn't really disclose what that would be, but something that might help you. In addition, continues to advise you to see the Lord Downfloor, not necessarily to be judged or scrutinized, but to give the truth out to what it is that you all have been through, what you all have done. Not to be on line with the Talthars. Remember, Lord Downfloor is the lord of this keep, as well as the Frosthorn and some of the Northern Gorn Valley, and has their own paladins, their own people. So Lord Downfloor is not necessarily a Talthar, right? Lord Downfloor is Falor, but has allegiance to the Talthars, which are in current reign of the Kingdom of Arthuria. And on your knowledge there, Harak, when you said taking over Aluda, well, the Talthars, they kind of did before the actual kingdom was formed. They, though, could not control it. And so they instilled a democratic council, and they allowed the Dwarven clans to kind of fight over Ismar for first rights of trade in exchange for protection. And so they use essentially the turmoil, the conflict between the clans, and as well as some of the rural farm folk, to maintain a law and order without them having to march troops in order themselves. So that speaks to that. So the Talthars do control Ismar in a way.
Well, and we know he's the one that appointed the Duke, though, right?
Lord Downfloor was responsible for appointing the Duke. That is correct.
I mean, that's reason enough not to talk to him.
You know, that's so interesting to me that you think let's assume that you're correct. Let's assume that you're
I'm just going off of how the party's saying, hey, like, we assume he's bad, we think he got what he deserved, or like whatever. Like, why would we talk to the person that you think he didn't vet the person he put in charge of an entire town?
Right. I hear you. And if I were to imagine that this person, this man, were my were somehow my enemy, or were, let's say, as malevolent as the forces that he installed somewhere else, not talking to him would be like almost akin to abetting him, like aiding him, right? Like ignoring it is almost like helping, if that makes sense, to Dougal, right? So I got a vote against the 2 cast votes already. I got a vote that I have to cast a vote that says we at least follow the instructions, guidance of the priestess here, that we just wait till the morning. Like, if how much traveling is ahead of us? What, the next 5 hours is going to be the difference?
I think we're leaving in the morning either way. It's just not meeting the Lord.
Right.
Yeah, I think in
I
the
have to cast
conversation,
my vote.
yeah, the conversation is do you beat with the Lord or not, which is something that the Valria has advised. But I think that what comes to is that there were some of you that wanted to help with this disappearance with the missing people. And even though you have Commander Wrangler Uku that has put a distaste and affront, something that Valria has mentioned was simply put, well, you can just go to Lorthown Falor for that. And like I said, you don't have to go with Valria, and you can state whatever it is you're going to state. You can tell the Lord whatever it is you want to tell, and potentially be a part of the investigation if that's something that you will intend to do.
Right.
I think what it really comes down to is that there, what it comes down to is that a lot of you, right, you're trying to reason and figure things out, right, but you don't have a whole lot of evidence there before you. So you're kind of you're speculating that, because the Lord put the Duke in place, that's going to mean that the Lord, most likely vetted, and that the Lord is at play here. So we shouldn't get involved with the Lord. But like what happened with the Duke, and simply going, well, we have the evidence a little bit of the Duke calling the master or whatever. That means that the Duke is bad, so then we can go through with whatever these dwarves were doing, right? And we're just gonna go we'll do that. And that comes into the same thing, right? It's just like taking that, basically like selectively choosing the evidence that's before you to fulfill the speculations. But you don't have all of the pieces in the puzzle, so to speak. And with what you act, just know that you act that way. Is the best way that I can say it. So we're going to take a break because we've been at this conversation for a while here. So we're going to get good time to get some rest and stuff. So get a drink, use the bathroom, whatnot. So if you're watching the stream, thanks so much. Looks like my inner problems have magically fixed themselves since we haven't crashed or roboted for a while. That's awesome. So appreciate it. We'll be back in 10 minutes or so. So we'll come back at about 7:32 p.m. PST. So yeah, we'll see you in a bit.
5.
Bye.
All right, welcome back. You're joining us for the last hour or so. Appreciate that. Coming back into the role play. We are in the Suntree Cathedral here. You all have been allowed to be private as Valkyrie has descended down into the depths underneath the cathedral to potentially study and get some information for you lot in the morning. Your conversation has led to kind of taking a vote of sorts, right? Hey, let's do this, let's do that. It seems one thing is clear, and that is progression. It's definitely at the forefront of your minds to get on some sort of track of where you're headed next. I think the conversation is kind of going to is, do we talk to the Lord? Do we figure out more information first? Or do we go, right? And then where do we go from there? Seemed like Fort Farron was just the next stop. That was it's a town as well as a fort that's attached to it. And that seems like the next stop that is likely. But was kind of a little bit wishy-washy of being like, oh, do we go directly to the pass? Or we bypass it? We just continue on the road, even if we get to the fort? So those are questions. And I think one of the things that you mentioned was a bag of holding. Seemed like that was something on grouping together with getting that, bringing that up anyways to the party. And then getting not a guide per se. I mean, just getting information on areas, terrain, and then potentially getting a guide. That was one thing that was brought up to approach with the rest of the party in that thing. So you're all still here. You're still having the conversation. I've advanced the time. You've been talking for a good old lot, but you're kind of at that point where again you're left your own devices here. You're able to kind of do what you please, and so it really kind of comes down to what you all would like to do. Just continue to role play and figure this out. Move on the conversation maybe to the Zealous Flag, get some drinks, enjoy yourselves a little bit here in the fine city, holy city of Othema. I heard out of character during break, hey, is there a brothel here? Maybe try to find a brothel. Who knows? Time is yours.
I don't know. Which character would have asked that?
I wonder which character would have asked that.
I'm a happily married rabbit.
What happens out of the Feywild stays out of the Feywild. Am I right?
That's right.
Is that?
You don't even know if she's still alive. You don't even know.
She's
what
on a
time it is
different
there.
plane, bro.
Oh, she's alive. I can feel her piercing gaze from here.
You see a crack
My
open to
vote.
the roof and eyes of your humble Eric
Oh my God.
spouse. Don't you dare, Sir Dougal Lavador Cottonforge, ever dare about cheating on me here.
Yeah.
I didn't raise all 61 of your kids for you to go
Isn't
off
she
running
beautiful?
your tail around.
That's why I married her.
Love you, babe.
So I think we were voting. I think I'm currently on the losing side. It's Indigo and Nereus, I think, so far in favor of not meeting with the Lord. Had anyone else cast a vote that I'm not recalling? And I had cast a vote to meet with the Lord.
I vote to meet with the Lord.
Is it to meet with the Lord or it's where to go? Because I don't
I-
mind
no.
meeting with the Lord, but I think that we need to go.
I think where we're going, I think we're all pretty much in agreement. We can vote on that too if you wish. I think
I thought the question was basically, are we leaving like soon, like tomorrow?
Well, I think that information would depend on what we get, right?
right. Yeah. So then,
Because
right. I mean, I think the reason to listen to what the Lord has to say is to right. I guess the people that are voting to meet with the Lord are voting to digest the intelligence that comes from that meeting, to let that inform, right, what the next path forward is. But if you are talking about direction, I think we're all basically in agreement, right? Fort Farron is the next stop, which we should also talk about, like, how to get there, which frankly might come up in the meeting with the Lord.
I think one of our
2-2.
biggest points of contention has been trying to stick to a plan and being super close-minded to that plan instead of being more reactionary and growing with the information we're getting. We've just been, this is what we're doing. We need to get here and do this.
But we've
And
literally never done that. That's been Neris' problem. It's the opposite of what you're saying. We've never actually done
Right.
But
I
we
don't think
keep
any
trying
plan.
to.
Right.
is
I don't
the
think
issue.
any plan is good enough. No plan is good enough to be worth ignoring new information. Like
I
in favor
agree
of,
with
right?
that completely, right? Like we definitely shouldn't ignore, but actively seeking out things for no reason, just in case, seems like when we have like a goal that's so far away, right? Like, of course we're going to find out information talking to the Lord, right? Like, there's no
Right.
question. Is that going to be relevant to helping Harak's tribe? Probably not, right?
It could be.
It could be, but we could also ask around this entire town, and we should, if we really want to do that, we should talk to everybody in town and see if they know anything, right? Like, if we
Right.
really want to do it, we shouldn't just. It's like all in or nothing, right? Like, you can't pick and choose if that's the approach we're going to take.
So
It could
so
be.
guys,
We could do both.
So from the outside here, it seems like Harak, you've been away for a little bit here, and we need to go help your people. And I agree to that when we first talked. That's something that sounds interesting to me. I do believe there's also an offer to go talk to the Lord today or tonight, as there was
There
an
they go.
open
Yeah.
there was an open forum or something that we could. Oh well, I say we. I'm assuming since I have a gem, I'm kind of in the group here. I mean, barring any hazing or any more parlor tricks from Nereus there, that maybe we go talk to the Lord today, because I don't think we're leaving today, and we can, after we talk to him, either get supplies, leave, and go tomorrow morning first thing, and we're not wasting any more time, or we can wait till the morning, maybe talk to him or leave, depending on what the group decides. I really, I haven't been here long enough, or even know if I'm part of the group. I can step away if you guys want to take a vote or something. But maybe we go talk to the Lord today, see what he has to say, make a decision, get supplies if we're leaving, and decide, we leave tomorrow morning like was discussed anyway. Just my thoughts.
There's now a third option on the table for anyone that wishes to vote for it.
I don't like that option.
Not to complicate things, but my vote is to not talk to him, but if we do, then I want to have the priestess with us when we do.
Oh,
So then you're voting with me and Dougal?
that's interesting. I mean, yeah, we didn't make that like stipulation, but I don't see any reason why we couldn't.
No,
I mean, she said she'd go with us tomorrow morning.
No, I'm with Nereus, but if we do, then it should be, if we are going to get the information, then we should go all in and get all the information we can and take the priestess with us.
Okay, so that's a vote against, but then with a condition for pro. Okay, all right.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay, so it sounds like, though, from our new friend, Aries here, right? That sounds like a pro. I'm going to cast aside the detail of when we go and just count it as a pro, right? To go talk.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of long for the ride here. Just curious too. Did anybody that talked to the tree maybe ask about Harak's tribe with the tree to see what the kind of what their status is?
Give it a shot yourself. Think you'd be surprised. Maybe it'll talk back to you.
Oh, Yeah, remember this gym's not even really mine necessarily. I'm kind of safe keeping it. I don't know. Maybe somebody that already talked to it should give it a go, and maybe that could help us decide as well.
Two
Well,
things. The first
Okay.
is those of us who already spoke to it, it's not speaking to us anymore. Second, if you're holding that gem and it hasn't disappeared, it's yours.
I guess I've never thought about that part of it, but I made a promise to somebody.
Let's go
I'm
touch
gonna-
the tree.
I'm going to turn to Tarden and reluctantly take off the gem, very reluctantly, and ask him to put his hand out.
I will put my hand out with a smirk on my face that I was right.
And I'm going to do the same thing I saw Nereus do when the gem disappeared in my hand and walk away to see what happens.
Okay. You walk away, and as you do,
very reluctantly.
very reluctantly, some time goes by. Sure enough, Tarden, the gemstone disappears from your hand and appears in the hand of you.
See what I mean?
Consider yourself the missing part of the group. Maybe you were always part of the group, we just weren't all together.
Put the gem back on, put it back in the shirt, and this is really weird, guys. Like I'm just coming into. I don't even know. I just went toward an explosion today to try to help, and then thought I was saving people, and now here we are.
It doesn't, right. So I want to catch you right now in this like wash of realization that you're experiencing. Another two things. You're not invincible. I've died twice in the last month. Second, that stone makes you a target just as often as it makes you a relic, right? A chosen one, right? It just as frequently makes you a target. So keep it visible or don't. It's up to you. Some of us do, some of us don't. Just keep your head on a swivel, is what I'm saying.
Well, it seems fortuitous that I was already looking for a party to go on some adventures with, to forget about some things for a while anyway. And I guess here we are now.
I think what we should do is all go back to the flagon. Maybe get some. I have a couple of drinks, and we can even pack if we want. Right? We can be prepared to leave. And the priestess will know where to find us. Is that a reasonable enough step forward in everyone's plan?
How does everyone feel about chipping in 200 gold for a bag of holding?
Fucking bag of holding. Here's what's 200 gold? Here's 2,000 silver.
Ares kind of shrugs like, I don't have any money. I'm sorry.
Here's 4,000 silver.
I've
got the new guy.
When we did the math, I wasn't including the new guy.
Okay, here's 4,000 silver.
I just need buy-in from everyone.
Yeah, sure. Who cares? Can I suggest going to the Mountainside Tavern instead so we can meet
Oh.
Uku?
I suppose we could. Maybe that's cool, right? Because the priestess wouldn't said that she wouldn't come really for us until the morning, right? So, yeah, we can spare tonight in a different tavern. Probably more affordable, right? We spent a lot of money on a charcuterie plate that I don't think we shouldn't be eating 2 nights in a row.
Oh, hey, I have a gnome you might want to meet, by the way, Harok. Seems to know a lot about
Really?
things. I didn't ask for his name. I didn't think about it at the time. But you happen to like gnomes. Or don't like gnomes. Whichever one it is. You know?
Hold on, I thought it
you
was
might be
Nereus that
interested.
didn't like anybody.
Yeah, Nereus doesn't like anybody. Harok doesn't
Oh,
like
Nereus.
gnomes.
Nereus is perfectly impartial in his distribution of hatred.
Unless your name
Right.
is Tardan, and then you get an extra tier below everybody.
I do have to agree with that. I think you get that lower tier for sure treatment.
You know what you did.
I don't! You
It's
have
like
never
there's
told
this-
me what I did!
It's just like there's like this innate prejudice against like you're like a bard, quote unquote. This is funny.
that's the answer my wife gives me right there. You know what you did. I really have no clue.
That doesn't mean you're not wrong.
It's true.
True.
Whatever.
To the mountainside.
The Mountain Sun Tavern. Okay.
With a pit stop in the Trader's District, right, everybody? Right? Right?
Heading to the
Does
Trader's
everybody
District
need to
first.
go buy the bag of holding?
Well, if it's a gnome selling it to us, then I'd like to go.
It's a group purchase, so we may as well all go.
Okay. All going. Let's do it. Ba-ba-ba-ba.
Dougal's like, I just want alcohol and food, dude.
All right, so begin to make way outside the Holy District and getting towards the Drift, which is kind of this, as I've described it, very smashed 2 to 3 story kind of straw thatch or clay tile townhome apartment style buildings. They're kind of brought in together very close. The Drift forms little tiny alleyways as people are tossing buckets of shit potentially from their windows, and hordes of actual chests, crates and barrels and stuff linger within, and the alleyways themselves are super narrow. Even the streets themselves, if they're not a main kind of road, they're quite narrow. But they're all cobbled, really. You notice that they're not really much dirt and rock within these alleyways. They're even cobbled from the Drift, which is nice. But you're really kind of staying in the Holy District, primarily with a few of the larger kind of homes that are built on the district itself, and then you get towards that main road that kind of channels north towards the northern gate that leads out to the Traders District. Going through a brief description of this for our new player here, the Traders District is a area where traders and other sorts of travelers go to stay, as there might not be occupancy in the actual taverns themselves or potentially inns, and they rather live out there for free. Coming to the Frosthorn is an event. People who come out here tend to want to stay for a great period. They don't just come up here for a day and then they move on, as Othema is the last stop really for a lot of these people. No one really goes to High Rock, right? They don't go there. This is the last stop that they make up here. And so they want to stay here for a good chunk, especially if they're a trader. They want to get rid of their wares, and then they want to maybe resupply, or they want to distribute, and then they head back, right? Because it's like that linear path, so to speak. So in here you have many wagons, stagecoaches. You also have pitched tents. You have large canopy circus-style tents. There's individuals that are harking wares. There's some that are gathered around campfires. Snow falls down. There's currently snow falling down around you. I'm just going to go ahead and limit some of the noises that you're hearing. Give it more of a kind of a market feel here. large mark. It's not the feel I want. I want the. There you go. That's better. Pick up the wind. All right. And you begin to thumb through. Now, the Trader's District has all manners of things. They generally tend to be kind of trinket or knickknack religious items. It's really the kind of the goal, pilgrimage people that make up here. They try to sell to those people who come up here. But you can find all manners of things, as Tardan would attest to. So you're now attempting to find this gnome that had a kind of a beautiful kind of bluish robe with these little stars and things on it. They had a little couple, mule right upon the actual wagon itself. They had their feet kind of kicked up. They were reading a book. They were kind of a darker complexion, right, that this gnome was, a little blackish hair and these things. And so you're trying to find this individual. I need you to make a perception check.
This isn't going to go well.
21. You do indeed. You go to almost the exact same spot, and you see that this individual is there. You've been here before, and it has not been that much time. The individual is still there, currently reading a small leather-bound book made of a purple, slight reddish leather to it. And it seems to have a great number of pages. They don't have their legs up on the table that sits out in front of them. They have them down currently, and they're currently kind of digging around, rummaging within a tiny small barrel nearby, pulling out these weird kind of turnip-looking things. They're just taking big bites out of them, and then they're stashing them back in as they're flipping through a multitude of pages. The mules are off their actual bridle. They're not currently kind of latched onto the wagon per se. They're feeding on a couple of straw and grain of sacks that are opened up for them. There's a bucket of water nearby that they're drinking from. And then the wagon itself, there's missing things, so they've sold things. They have traded. So there's a couple individuals, a couple, crates, maybe a chest or right there gone. But it's looking like, hey, you know what? It's, good business and whatnot. So you make your way up there. The individuals continues to read their book. They don't really pay attention to you. They're just kind of continuing to read, which is something that happened to you before.
I'm going to take the bow off my back so I have it in hand. And as I approach, I'm going to say, hey, if it isn't my old pal.
Oh, you're back. Welcome.
I am indeed.
You brought friends, I see. Well, many friends indeed for the traveling one up the... What's up?
I was hoping to make that trade for the bag of holding. However, I was hoping that instead of 1,000, you could take 500 in the bow, given our generous dealings yesterday.
Roll persuasion. Wow, silver tongue. I see. The bow and 500 for the bag of holding. Maybe entice the deal, I would say. Give me a story of your traveling days.
Oh, I can do you one better than that. If we cut it in half again, I can give you a performance, if you would, with the
performance. 250 gold on the bow and a performance for me to hear and me to enjoy. Sound good?
That is the deal.
All right then. Let it be done. Let it be so. Play away.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the bow down on the table. And I'm going to whip my flute out of my sleeve. And I'm going to do the ballad that I wrote down and made sure that it rhymed every other line because that was the best I could do because I'm not talented at all. A group of lost souls found themselves in a sea-bound misery, but they did not know they were parts of a greater whole. Would they themselves entomb in history? An unfamiliar place they find, filled with ice, wind, and cold. They quickly found themselves in a bind, and now a story is told. A dragon found them, and its name it told, Ithrin. And now a story unfold. Breath of a dragon that chilled to the bone, they lost their wagon, wings flapped into a cyclone. They found power in a stone, they raised it high, and the dragon went prone. They had hit the bullseye. They had the best Ithrin, Six-pack is their name. They had shown the best of man, the brightness of a flame.
Roll performance. While this is happening, this particular gnome has actually pulled out a smaller book. This is a kind of tiny, remember like a journal with a blackish kind of leather to it. Grabbed an ink pen and quill and is actually writing down what you're saying. Currently taking notes. 15 performance. It's good, right? Many people are looking and hearing, kind of clapping, cheering a little bit upon your performance. And it's short and sweet a little bit as it kind of concludes. And people again begin to talk amongst themselves, embracing the market-like feeling. The singers are hawking and whatnot. You see the gnome kind of slowly begin to clap a little bit after putting down the running utensils. Why, that was quite impressive.
It's still in a rough form, but need to work the flute tunes out and shorten some of the words, but yes.
Well, lay down your coin, provide the bow, and a bag of holding will be yours.
I will put down the bow, and I'll go ahead and take the 250 out of the treasury.
Okay. Goes up to the wheel, climbs up on the wheel, then over top of the wagon. You see rummaging, moving certain things. You're a click of a chest, taps, unlocking, pulling out some sort of bag, kind of a satchel-like bag with kind of a strap, little reds, browns to it. Begins to kind of pull it out, shoves down the chest, locks it again, then climbs out of the wagon, walks up to the table and slowly pushes it down and slides. After taking the bow and the leather purse of coin, begins to move back, places them into the wagon, comes, moves the hands a little bit. One bag of holding for you.
I'll go ahead and take the bag and give him a bow. It was a pleasure doing business. My friend may have a couple of questions for you, but I'll let him ask. And I'm going to kind of...
Questions. I do
You're
like
a gnome
questions.
I learned this yesterday, yes.
Who has questions for me? Friends of this one who is great in performance and has large coin. Do tell. Do speak.
I'd like to ask him in Gnomish if he knows anything about the wizard Erpip or the college that he went to. That I know in character, but not out of character. I know that Nereus knows it. But...
Speaks back in Gnomish to you. Erpip is a name that I do not know particularly well. It is a name that I have heard from someone who studied in the Wizard's Keep. I may have spent a day or two there, traveling, but it is not a school that I was studied in, nor was I allowed to. I recall correctly, well, my mind might be quite a bit fuzzy. Perhaps some coin will help, as your friend would know. Let's call an even 100. I will tell you the school of magic they taught.
Wow. 100 gold when you've already received 1,000. You know what? It's not worth that much to me.
So be it. And let the information be said, simply because your friend is good with the flute, and quite performance as well with the ballad. If you need more information, do lay down coin, and I simply ask you a question.
Well, what if I gave you... if I gave you a precious gem in exchange for the information?
A precious gem. Why, that would be quite interesting. Let me see.
Alright, I'll show him my golden stone, but not give it to him.
Looks at it. Raises the hand. Begins to use detect magic. Nereus, you know this. So you're able to know that, and as well as most likely Tardan, you as well. It's tech magic moving through. After doing that, sets it down upon the table. I have no business with that. The value itself means nothing to me. It's yours to keep.
Maybe you'd like to appraise it.
I have
Oh
no
my God.
use for its appraisal.
Wow.
But I might sell you something that might help you greatly indeed, if you're willing to see.
Oh, wow. Do tell.
It is a potion. Something that will give you great clarity. It is something that may be of great use to you. But it is of high cost. And, well, you'll have to take my word for it. Are you interested?
I am willing to entertain the idea.
So be. The price and cost is 5,000 gold pieces. For a bottle of water that comes from a place where I believe your stone has touched, and a place I will reveal upon purchase.
Wow. What a steal.
Information is
sure?
valuable.
Are you sure you're willing to let it go for that low? Why not 6,000? Why not 8 or 10,000?
Leans forward. Are we agreed? Or will you continue to banter away?
Well, if you had if you had given me any reason to believe that you had any information besides ripping off my friend, I might be able to entertain the idea, but
Ripping off your friend? Why, I gave them great information. As your friend can attest, isn't this information that perhaps piqued your curiosities and aided you in whatever endeavor it was you had? Speaks in common. Speaks in common still. Now, the price is 5,000, and I am true to my word. Information on this potion, where this particular stone, well, wherever it's been, I can give you. But I'm not simply going to give the information out for free. And the information will be of worth, as I said, your friend can attest to.
Yeah, it turns out that somebody already knew that information. I'm not very happy with that information. People don't like to tell me things.
Well, it's not my fault that your friends did not tell you something that you had heard from me, but perhaps that can create some distrust indeed. Who knows? What I can say is that you all find yourselves on this very day at my particular stall, looking not for a bag of holding, but now for something else. Something that is very powerful, ancient, and will be of great use to you.
does anyone want to say anything to this guy before I mouth off to him?
Well,
I think my business is concluded here, and Tardan's going to turn around and head out.
You seem like a individual who likes to take chances. Are you a gambling man?
No, I do not gamble.
Figured someone with a small intellect would be like that.
Listen, I have lived a great number of years. I am, well, as they say, thick-skinned. You can continue to insult me, as well as the knowledge that I possess. That is fine. It is what you wish to be as the best. But what I can say to that, indeed, you wish to take my word, then you will greatly succeed.
He's all yours, Harak.
I would not pay more than my friend has paid for his information.
Well, it's not just information you're getting, but a potion.
And sorry, I would be more inclined to spend the money if I knew the connection between the information and the potion in a little more detail.
Well, the potion is where your stone has touched.
Can my friend look at the potion before we
No.
make a purchase?
Of course not. I'm not in the dealings of giving free information, nor letting you entice your arcane magical fingers across my wares. All sales are final.
Wow. You know what? I'm not going to waste any more time here. I don't have to ask you about information for where the stone has come from, because I'm going there. With or without your information.
All right, then. Looks directly at you. Picks up the turnip out of the barrel. Takes a bite. Pulls up a water skin, raises it. Washes it down. Have a great day.
Think we're all leaving? Yes.
Oh yeah.
Gonna spit on the floor before I leave.
Oh my god.
Spit on the ground as you all begin to depart. You see as the gnome climbs up onto the desk, the table up in front. Stares at you all. You begin to make your distance. Need everyone to roll perception checks. Wow, look at these checks coming through. And a nat 20. Oh my
Hey,
goodness.
let's go.
Indigo, Nereus, and Tardan. You all hear, muttering slightly a whisper from the gnome's mouth. This is very unlike you, chosen ones. As you all move into the crowd.
I hate gnomes so much, you guys.
I don't like him anymore.
W-
The hate's real now. If I did get you to hate this gnome, I got you to hate the gnome now!
You set the trap and I stepped right into it.
Oh, yeah, you
Man.
did.
I was loving him and everything. He was my favorite character so far.
Was.
Bait was so juicy, I couldn't resist.
So you continue back to the wall. As you do, you see the gate open, the double wooden doors, those portcullis open for you, traders going in and out, and you make your way back into the city. So from here, you are heading to the Mountainside Tavern, yeah? So the Mountainside Tavern is...
Yes.
Okay, so the Mountainside Tavern is off one of the adjacent roads, one of a thoroughfare, as you should say. So you said head south upon the kind of made cobbled road that passes from the Traders District through the Drift, and eventually you take a smaller kind of cobbled, just about 5 to 6 feet, as kind of less in width as you head east, headed for an actual sign that points you towards the Mountainside Tavern. It says Mountainside Tavern, Stormy Inn. It's on a wooden kind of stand that protrudes up from the sidewalk, the brick sidewalk, I should say. And there's a couple trading areas here, many different stalls and things pitched up, and just kind of showcases to you that they're taking advantage of the width of the road and really doing what they can do best to try to sell their wares, even outside of the Traders District and outside of the actual market kind of square that they formed between the Military District and the Drift. As you head several blocks, you continue going through the Drift upon the kind of side road, I should say. And I'm going to go ahead and advance you to a map here. Go ahead and pause it as I give a description as you all begin to load in here. Dustin, you might have a problem loading in, or at least it should take a little bit long because the map is actually quite large, so it might take a little bit for you. So the Mountside Tavern is a single-story tavern found within the Drift. It is only a tavern accessible to kind of everyone, I should say, right? It is common folk, noble alike, right? Everything's in the realm of how cheap and such it is. Now, something to note about the tavern is that it sits adjacent across the street from the Stormy Inn. So the tavern does not actually have rooms. Looks like my internet is going, so if I start roboting, please let me know. The tavern itself does not have rooms, okay? The Stormy Inn has rooms. And so the Mountside Tavern, upon coming to this, right, you see that the tavern to your left, upon the sign that notes it, it seems to be a single story. Has a kind of a mountain there with a kind of an egg thing, a cask of ale kind of in front of it spilling out as its sign. And then to the right, it has kind of a cloud kind of forming and dispersing with a couple different stripes. It's a Stormy Inn. And so you immediately recognize, okay, the tavern single story, the inn single story. This makes me think that the tavern doesn't have rooms. It's more like a bar, right? There's a signage post outside of the tavern. The tavern itself stands about 13 to 14 feet high, clay tiled roof. There's also an annex kitchen area with a straw thatching that wraps around towards the northwest. And there's a double wind door with a log pile sitting outside that kind of notes that. And that's right here. I'm going to ping it. The main entrance is over here. There's some guard, a couple of them on horseback. They're just making patrols, just kind of riding through. And this is almost like the first time that you've seen patrols of guard. Noting that perhaps that they do more patrols in the Drift than they do in the other districts, right? You may have had some, Commander Wrangler Uku in the actual Zealous Flagon, but you haven't really seen a whole realm of guard, especially for those that were outside, in the warehouse of the Emporium, and that explosion went off, right? No guard really responded to that. Now there's a well sitting to outside the Stormy Inn. There's a couple of people talking. There's a kind of a covered area, such as like a stables over here for some horses, not really like a wagon or sort of major stabling of sorts. And the tavern is bustling. From the windows, you can see many lights, people cheering, jeering. There's a lot of people in there enjoying their drink and such of that. And it kind of alludes to a beautiful, kind of quaint, not quaint, I should say, a beautiful, cheery environment that is different than any tavern that you have come across thus far. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and unpause it. The Stormy Inn resembles the same structure as the Mountside Tavern. It's slightly shorter, about 11 to 12 feet, with brick stone, the same interior wood, glazed metal-etched windows, and a double-wind door with metal reinforcement with a wrought iron handle.
When we come in, do we see the orc anywhere? I'm guessing not.
Do not. No. I'm going to start playing some audio for SFX here. So, Dustin, you're going to find one thing in my games, right? If you haven't watched my stream, I do SFX sounds and stuff for a couple different scenarios. Taverns, obviously. Make sure we get the idea of what they're doing in here. There is a bard playing right now. Just FYI. All right, so as you come into the tavern, you have a bar towards the northwest side with two kind of areas there, which are somewhat open. There's no curtains that reveal a kitchen with many different ovens. Really well equipped to handle a great number of patrons, some cooking areas and other things. There is an individual that is walking around, kind of serving tables, so to speak. Appears to be a small, petite human. Stands just shy of 5'2" with long brown hair. And it's been braided into a single ponytail. Goes down the length of her back. Eyes bluish green, pale complexion. You notice there's someone behind the bar, just a single person. This individual is a large and tall human male. Black, short, wavy hair and a slight stubble. Eyes are bluish green and sad. Wears a brown leather vest over a long green tucked cloth shirt and brown trousers with a brown belt and heirloom buckle. Black leather boots adorn the feet. Upon coming around, this individual is helping those at the actual bar, while the other one is kind of making rounds towards the table. You notice there's a great number of guard in here. Right? You haven't seen that in the other two taverns, but particularly guard are in here. Many of them are drinking, cheering, just enjoying potentially a break of sorts, but others are kind of popping out. I'm going to advance the time clock just a little bit, probably pull it about 4:30, so your early time for dinner perhaps. And so the smells of roast and cooked meats as well as kind of stews and things are really hitting your nostrils at this present time. The wood is weathered upon the floor. It kind of creaks when you kind of walk up on it, and there's little holes. There's also a couple mice that are running around in here. There's shelves as well as wardrobes by the entrance for backpacks as well as coats. And then a bathroom kind of sits in the center, providing the pillar support of the actual 13, 14-foot single-story structure. Fireplaces adorned with trinkets of horns and other sorts of animal parts, as well as hides are about. Plenty of these rugs and things. It's just a really, and like I said, it's an inviting environment, right? You've come in, everyone's cheering, they're laughing, pouring drinks, they're enjoying themselves. There's cheering going on in here, so there's just a great level of enjoying themselves. There's even a bard playing in here, just playing a tune quickly on the lute. People are tossing coin at the bard and upon the feet there, and you're just having a good time. I'm gonna go ahead and change that name to a bard. Sure enough, you make your way to the table here. Come and find a seat as you do. Some of you, it looks like, are walking around. The actual small, petite human female begins to make way upon this dress as comes through. After having numerous kind of orders passing upon the tables, gets towards the end of the table, looks towards you all. Hi! How can I help you?
Mead.
Mead? Okay.
Mead.
That sounds good. Are you all staying for dinner tonight?
Ooh.
When will dinner be ready?
That sounds like a good
well,
idea.
dinner should be ready in roughly half to the hour, so we should be looking at that. It's a nice hearty stew with mountain goat heart and a couple of the organs, so the intestines and things, and gravy and biscuits, as well as some root vegetables in there. It should be quite delicious. Brendan Shalore's been cooking it up all day.
Can we make a reservation for our friend Uku?
Uku, are you talking about Wrangler Uku?
Yes.
Reservation, what do you mean by that?
Well, we're expecting him, so I guess if you could just point us, if he comes in, could you point him our way and have a plate ready for him?
Oh, well,
And,
most
and
certainly.
Some meat, of course.
Meat, of course. That's usually the drink of Wrangler, so I'll make sure that happens. Are they sitting with you? I can get another chair.
We would love it if he could sit with us.
All right, I'll make that happen. So, can really get a word on food though. Mead though, I'll get mead all around. It seems like, and then food, yeah, staying.
What's the price on everything?
Yeah, I've learned to ask how much does that cost?
Well, meat all around and food for all of you for 7. Obviously for Wrangler, it'd be 2 silver pieces.
Should have stayed here.
I'll
Yeah,
toss her
we're,
1 gold and tell her to keep the mead. And we'll take the food as well.
All right. Keep the meat. What do you mean by that?
keep it
I'll
coming
take his.
until that runs out.
Keep it coming until the gold runs out. Of course. Most certainly. Well, welcome to the Mountainside Tavern. I'll be right back. Makes way to the kitchen.
Do you drink much?
Are you talking to me?
I am. I know Indigo drinks.
I've been known to kick back a few in my day.
Really? I'm pretty new to it. At least the kinds that are available here, it seems like it's pretty different. It seems like it's pretty different here than where I'm from, I should say. What? Oh, is that true? Oh, maybe that is true. In that case, I'll take Indigo's. Yeah, it's pretty different here though than where I'm from. What do you have a particular drink that reminds you of home?
No, I kind of take what I can get. It's just when there's time to drink and relax, and what I used to do, it's something you don't take for granted. And you just take what you can get.
What did I don't think I was actually part of the conversation. When you told us where you're from, where are you from? Where are you from?
I'm from a pretty small place. I'm from the. We'll just leave it at the continent of Tamaria for now.
And which
you asked
house
about.
did you live under?
You asked what I did for the last 6 months. I kind of ignore Tardan what he asked for now. You asked what I did. Well, about my last thing that I did and why I take any drink that I can get is I was on a boat for a while, and I mean, if you ever had any of the homemade brew on a boat, you know what you're getting from that. So there's only one purpose in drinking that stuff, and it's not because it tastes good.
Right. My first experience was actually pretty recently. My first experience on a boat happened pretty recently. I'm unfortunately, I think I'm familiar with what you're talking about. So this is another continent, you're saying, of this? It's not this land mass at all?
While having this conversation, Jill did come around. This person did come around, introduced herself as Jill, your server, and then provided you your mead. So it gave you these kind of wooden clay mugs, steins, if you will, full of mead, and as well as lay down a pitcher of it, and then a pitcher of water as well. You notice that they have sidestepped from your table and headed up to a top table where they're beginning to talk and serve up there. Sorry, go for it.
You worked on the ship? Is that it was just how you were traveling, or were you actually in employ of the ship?
A little bit of both. You certainly have a lot of questions. I could have a few for you too. Like, how or where on earth is a 6-foot rabbit from, and what are you doing here?
That is such a great question. Yeah, I don't really know. It seems weird, right? Right. I'm not from here either, like you, right? Maybe not like you, but I'm not from here either. I have a family. I left, hopefully. They're waiting for me. In a place called the Autumn Vale, which is one part of the Feywild, which is must seem strange, right? I am a knight. I am a knighted. I am a member of the Queen's Court in the of the Seelie Court in the Feywild. My queen has sent me here. Well, maybe that's not really true. My queen trusted me with a task that involved my travel here. It is. I'd like to think that it's an honorable task, even if sometimes we aren't the most honorable how we comport ourselves. But I'd like to think that our motives are, at least my motivation, is honorable.
And what task is that?
Oh, that's a great question. There used to be, I cast a sidelong glance at Tarden. There used to be an area here on this continent, on this very landmass, called the Redwood. It was, I think it is in the past. It used to be called the Redwood, and it was a lush and fertile place, and it represented a convergence, which is a word that we use. I didn't really know much about it myself until recently, but it's a word that we use to describe a moment in space where our two planes kind of touch, if that makes sense. And it afforded my community and the Redwood, by the way, both with opportunities for travel, commerce, communication. I think there's some mystical element to it where even like energy was kind of harvestable, right, in a weird way from this like symbiotic relationship that we used to share. And some number of years ago, a terrible decay has fallen on the Redwood. It's no longer known as the Redwood here. I think it goes by some terrible other name. The Marshes of Unveiling. And there is a terrible, toxic, necrotic force at work. I think even commanding an army of undead, possibly. Some of it is fact, and some of it is fiction, I'm sure. But my task is to restore the Redwood to its former glory, if that's even possible.
Throughout your conversation, it seems that Wrangler Uku has came in, broken up a fight between two of the guard, then made way to the bar counter, then was directed, taking the stool, setting it upon the table. No chair brought by Jill, by the way. Jill seems to have walked back in the kitchen. Standing on the chair, slowly had pulled the pitcher from the table, poured it into one of the mugs they had taken from the bar counter, slides it across, begins to drink it.
To finish this up, I'll say that's interesting. Seems like you and Harak both have very honorable task. And I'll look at Tarden and say, you seem to know a little bit about where I'm from, and given that, you would know that not being a highborn elf, it's almost impossible to get into a house.
I was wondering which one you served. You look like you've been a part of the wars, or the fights, or the whatever you want to call it. I didn't deal with any of that.
Or maybe you're bringing up memories of how I was abused by one of the houses. Or maybe I was a part of the wars. Prefer not to talk about it at this time. I think actually, I probably wouldn't know. Where's this gentleman that we've been waiting for?
Sitting at the end of the table, drinking. Or it's another. Sits down the pitcher.
Long day, lead investigator.
So I'm going to give a description of this character for our new player here. So this individual is a tall and strong half-orc male, black war braided hair that extends down to the shoulders, darker green complexion with black eyes, wears a piece of masterwork plate armor and wields the battle axe with a shield, Sir Coat of Valor, as well as a commander's maroon cape adorns them. He has a large scar across the forehead and most of the back that comes up to the neck and wraps around to the chin. Seems from based on the conversation with Valeria, this could have been from time served. Taking the cup. Why the fuck did you all pay for my drinking food?
We were told to.
By who?
The priestess.
Oh, Valeria. He has a kind heart, but damn those clerics.
Felt like we got off on the wrong foot.
Or is another. Did we? I don't even remember you. Where are you from?
I really couldn't even tell you. But we're here to help, and I hope you believe me.
Help with what?
Well, it seems like you've been having some trouble with these disappearances.
You're that one. Now I fucking remember you.
Yes, there you go.
Are we here to drink and eat?
Sure. We can
That's
drink and
good.
eat.
Drink and eat. Cheers.
Can you drink?
Cheers.
The rabbit and my
Picks up
buddy here.
2 steins. You want a drink?
I mean, some of the guys that are with us can drink. Can you drink? Or are you just acting like you can drink?
Are you a
Is this
You
a
can
fucking
drink like
question?
a
Are you
half,
fucking
like-
kidding me? Of course I can drink.
I mean, you've only drank like 2 or 3 since you sat down. He's on his 7th one already. I
Slams it
don't.
down, takes the battle axe out, slaps it down into the table with a large crash, stands up. Are you defying my honor?
No, just your liver. Keep drinking.
I think what he's suggesting is a friendly drinking competition between you and a few of us. Some
What's
of us
the
don't
wager
drink.
then?
If we win, you have to be nicer to us.
We couldn't ask for the information on the missing people.
Nicer.
That comes naturally.
Yells out, stop that fucking bard! Sees the bard slowly stops.
If we lose, if you
Oh.
win,
How about if you win, you get full membership into my clan?
I don't care about no membership in any clan. Being nice, that's your wager, so be it. I will wager my nicety.
and if we lose, we pay for all your drinks.
Oh, fuck that.
For
If you lose, looks towards Nereus. I want to see that one. Stretches and looks. That one needs to hit me. Hard as they can across the brow.
oh my god, totally deal.
I don't resort to violence.
Looks towards you all,
Deal.
raises an eyebrow. Seems your companion isn't quite, agreeing to the arrangement.
He's not as open-minded as some of us.
I'll
Is there
hit you.
anything else we can interest you in?
Let me hit you then.
No. You are good with your fists. This one, knuckles barely broken in. Want to see how hard they can hit me.
Tar's just gonna hold out his hands and look at him. I don't hit anything.
No, you're supposed to play for us. Pushes you off the chair a little bit. Get that flute. I see it in your waistband. Get it going. Play me something thick.
Yeah, play us something thick, Tharden. Come on, Tharden.
Speaks Orcish.
Break into the thick stuff.
Something that our clan would pride over the fire, freshly caught from a bison. Speaks back in common. Play it!
I'm going to begin, I guess, playing my best version of heavy metal on a flute.
Come on, man. Jethro Tull.
Stomps it down. Brendan! See the barkeep begin to run. What's going on, Wrangler? We need a keg of mead, freshly tapped for a drinking competition. And don't let it be the cheap stuff they're paying. Smiles as he turns around. Right.
I think he was asking you guys a
The
question.
silence means they're paying. So be it. Go, Brendan.
Yeah, yes.
Run.
We have coins,
Runs
what we
to the
have.
kitchen. Slowly comes back with the keg, slaps it down 3 gallons. Gets to tap it freshly on the side
Oh my god.
of regular Uku. Brendan then goes back to the bar. You have yet to see Jill. Jill seems to disappear in the kitchen and has yet to return. Wrangler begins to fill it after watching you all. Takes the keg and slowly begins to walk it upon the shoulder, filling each of your cups. Slaps it down on the side of the chair. Raises the bug. Let us begin!
I would like to sit across from Dougal so he has advantage when he attacks the keg.
I will raise my mug while I play the flute.
Downs it. After downing it, begins to go around several rounds. I need everyone to roll constitution checks. Tartan, you begin to fall drunk, your death metal playing that is filling the ears of Wranglar. It's jamming out to it. Begin to subside as you begin to get drunk. You see slowly looking lightweight. Now stretching over Sir Duel, you are falling prone to being drunk, but you're maintaining balance. Ares and Harak, no worries there. Maintaining your composure. You see, as Wranglar has had no problem drinking the amount of mead that's consumed, easily now 7 pints of mead. Begins to pour more. No, let's go! Come on! I can't wait to see this one hit me. If it's hitting the cups, I need another constitution check. $21, Ares. We got a 15. We got a 20, Sir Dougal. Rallying. You throw up a little bit. You catch yourself. Throw your head together. You're ready for the fight. You throw up right on the floor. No worries. And all of this time, half an hour has passed by. Roughly, I'm going to put to about 5:30, given the time you've had talking and whatnot. Half an hour has passed by from there. Jill has yet to make it back. You know, as Harak with a 15, you are falling prone. Tardan, you land on the ground, unconscious, absolutely smashed out, drunk in that trance-like state. Death metal flute playing has stopped. Harak, though, you're getting a little bit drunk, but you're maintaining self. You see now, as the half hour passes, again, Jill has yet to make an appearance. Jill now comes back. Begins to look towards the bar counter, helping Brendan. The hair slightly frayed, pulling the dress together. And then walking back in from the entrance is a human. Seeming this one was the same one upon the table above you. Seems to be hair awry with this wiry, long, middle hair, black with this beautiful face, very Adam Driver kind of look and physique. He's wearing a beautiful silk kind of tunic as well as this white cloth blouse and things. And begins to kind of right themselves and then makes way back at the table with another older human and a dwarf. Come on! You thick, weak-skinned individuals. More! Begins to pride more. I need another con check.
You know, I wonder what raging would do here.
Sir Dougal and Ares, both of you, pass out, unconscious, drunk.
Oh my god.
Absolutely smashed and hammered. Tarak, you are tipsy. The only one to maintain yourself you see is regular Uku is completely unfazed with the 23 Constitution ability check.
Holy
Not even a save.
Oh my god.
Stretching, looking, breathing, sweating from the brow. Speaks in Orcish to you as you're the only one really in the game now. Test yourself. Let's see how you fare. More. Stretching, looking, the incisors now poking out from the lower lip up. Grabs the cup after filling it, rolls another check. Demands it from you as you spill another, now 15 pints full of meat have been drank. "15 does not beat Wranglar's 16 as you begin to fall. Somewhat unconscious, you see Wranglar falling too, but maintains composure. After all of you have failed this drinking game, Wranglar is the only one to maintain their balance and posture at the table of drink. Slowly stands up, swaying side to side. Lets out a large roar. She stretches the hands, incisors poking out, looks towards Nereus, lowers the head down. Now clock me!
I'll look back at Indigo, so only one conscious, I guess, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Harak is conscious,
Can't wait.
but I mean, very intoxicated. Has lost composure at the table.
My only regret is that I wasn't conscious to watch the punch get thrown.
Don't say I never did anything for the group.
2/3 of the group can't even see what's going on.
That's why he's looking at, because he knows, like, he'll tell him. At least he better just want a strength check, I guess.
I want a flat D4, letting you hit. So go ahead and roll a D4 and then add your strength modifier.
Yeah, but I could crit.
Go ahead and roll the D20 then, flat D20. Let's see if you crit.
Oh my god. Please. Oh, shut the fuck up.
Oh my gosh, what was that? Oh my word! All right, give me 2d4. We're gonna we max one of them anyways. So we max the 4, so 7 points. Your strength mod, I believe, is 0.
0, yep.
So 7 points of damage dealt as you clock across the side of the head, landing directly into the temple. You notice Wrangler takes it and looks towards you, kind of cracks the jaw back into place and grabs you on either shoulders. You have earned my strength. Yes! Shakes you a little bit, sits down on the table. So be it, your friends. Question. I'm lubricated, fresh to answer. What be it?
I'm sorry, who's conscious right now?
Just you, I
Just
think.
you and Diego.
You and Darius.
And Darius, really. But before we get into questions, before we get anything further, we're going to go ahead and end the session there. We're going to go ahead and conclude as we've ended our time. Push a little bit past that. Given that I was having technical difficulties and stuff, we started late. I want to make sure you got enough time. With that said, we will be giving out inspiration. Nereus, you have inspiration.
Oh, absolutely.
Awarded to you.
Let's go.
Inspiration is stackable. Inspiration can be used to be automatically successful whenever you so choose. It is not just advantage in my game, homebrew rules. Why you got inspiration was simple. This is a particular moment in getting information from a very dense and very intimidating character, and you had to do enough damage to potentially get that. And So you got the critical after getting the D20 roll, after pleading it, and it was quite a historic and a memorable moment for your character to come across and strike Rangluku across the face. I think that was something very worthy of inspiration in that regard. So nice
I hope the
job.
Indigo thinks maybe Nereus has a bigger right hook than he was expecting.
Exactly. Very out of character, very amazing, very awesome moment. So we're going to calculate some experience. I'm going to stop the music, the SFX stuff, and if any of you have questions like calculating experience, go ahead and ask.
Yeah, can you make sure that we get, 1,615 in XP?
I thought it would have been great
Fantastic.
I thought it would have been great if Nereus accidentally knocked him out.
I don't think he could have done enough damage.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, yeah.
I really thought Nereus was going to take advantage of everyone being drunk and like pretend to go in for the hit and then cast Ray of water on him just to like use the water.
In a crowded bar? Whose ballot
man.
is outside?
I mean, you're close enough, right? And he told you to hit him. He's drunk.
So it looks like we have 1,030 experience each, which puts you at 22,415 experience total. That does not.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, but that is the way that works. It's based on skill checks, based on role play, going through certain things, and so that gives you a good chunk. And again, based on how I do with my experience, right, you're going to find there's this kind of average value that's really assessed at the end of sessions. When we have these role play sessions, and depending on skill checks and things, that might raise it. And then the combat just adds to it and creates it into a good chunk. So hopefully you all had fun today. We had some really good fun RP moments. We have a new player with us and did awesome. So nice work there. Basically just dropped you in immediately without very much information at all. So nice job, especially since you're on Discord on your phone and then you're playing on a Chromebook in a hotel. So that's awesome. If you're watching this stream, we appreciate it. Thanks so much staying with us, even though we had a couple of different DCs and drops and whatnot. And hopefully I get this over to VOD with different parts if I have to. But yeah, so thanks so much. In Group 5, thanks you, and we'll see you again.
Six pack?
Six pack.
All right. 6